So your partial fraction decomposition review, there's two parts of it. One where you are setting up and not solving, and one that you are solving. When you set these up, you're setting them up to the point where you have the a times one of your denominators plus b times one of your denominators is equal to the original numerator. So if we look at number 1, it's given to us as 7x over x squared plus 9x minus 70. We have to factor that denominator there. So find the factors of negative 70 that add up to be positive 9. Well, if we did negative 5 times 14, that would give us the positive 9, and it multiplied, it would give us the negative 70. So this factors to just be x minus 5 times x plus 14. How many parts do you have here when this denominator is factored? 2. So this means that you're going to have a over x minus 5 plus b over x plus 14. If we were to get rid of those denominators or those fractions and just have whole number parts, you would multiply the top of the first fraction by x plus 14, top of the second by x minus 5. Cancels out your denominators. You set this equal to the original numerator. So that means that this is going to be a times x plus 14 plus b times x minus 5 is equal to 7x. If we're not solving it, this is your answer. For number 2, we're given 5x plus 1 over 3x cubed minus 27x. Factor the denominator. You have a greatest common factor with your denominator. It is 3x. So start by factoring that out. That leaves you with 3x times x squared minus 9. That x squared minus 9 is not factored fully. It is a difference of squares, so keep factoring it to where it's completely factored. This would give you 3x times x minus 3 times x plus 3. How many parts, when that denominator is factored, do we have that involve an x? 3. So that means you're going to have a over 3x plus b over x minus 3 plus c over x plus 3. So this is a little different than the ones that we did in your notes. So this one actually has 3 parts. That's why we're using A, B, and C. You are going to now multiply in order to get rid of your fractions. So your least common denominator here is that 3x times x minus 3 times x plus 3. So the first fraction that you see there, that a over 3x, does not have the x minus 3 times x plus 3. So we multiply the a by x minus 3 times x plus 3. The b is going to multiply by 3x and x plus 3. And the c is going to multiply by 3x and x minus 3. So that means that we're going to have a times x minus 3 times x plus 3 plus b times 3x times x plus 3 plus c times 3x times x minus 3 is equal to the original numerator. So that's the 5x plus 1. So if we're not completely simplifying this and solving for whatever your a, your b, and your c are, this is your answer. For number 3, we're given negative 5x plus 1 over 6x cubed plus 22x squared minus 8x. Now, in this denominator, when you go to factor it, you'll realize that you have a greatest common factor from all 3 of these terms. The greatest common factor from all 3 of these terms is 2x. So if we start by factoring out the 2x, that's going to leave us with 3x squared plus 11x minus 4. You have an a that's bigger than 1 or something other than 1. You have the 3. So multiply your a and your c. 3 times negative 4 is negative 12. You want the factors of negative 12 that add up to be positive 11. Well, if we have 12 and negative 1, that equals 11. So this factors to be, or sorry, it doesn't factor, but gets rewritten as 3x squared plus 12x minus x minus 4. You can now factor the inside of that by grouping. We're going to factor out a 3x from the first set, factor out a -1 from the second. So this means that we're going to have 2x times 3x times x plus 4 minus 1 times x plus 4. So this ends up giving us, since we have the same parentheses, 2x times x plus 4 times 3x minus 1. How many parts do you have now that involve an x when that denominator is factored? 3. So that's going to give you a over 2x plus b over x plus 4 plus c over 3x minus 1. What does the a over 2x have that's not in your, thank you. So that gets multiplied by x plus 4 times 3x minus 1. What does the b get multiplied by? What does c get multiplied by? Good. So we rewrite this to where we have a times x plus 4 plus b, times 3x minus 1 plus b times 2x times 3x minus 1 plus c times 2x times x plus 4. What is this all equal to? Good. If we look at the next part, these ones you're actually finding the partial decomposition of each of them. So you're working all the way through these. For example 4, you have negative x plus 7 over negative 3x squared plus 13x minus 14. Do you want to work with the negative in front of the 3x squared? So factor out a negative first. You don't have another greatest common factor with all of these, so this just becomes negative 1 times 3x squared minus 13x plus 14. The negative 1 doesn't have an x attached to it, so if you want to cancel that out right now, you can. You're not going to work with it. Factor the 3x squared minus 13x plus 14. Your 3 times 14 is what? 42. The factors of 42 that add up to be negative 13 are negative 6, negative 7. So this gets rewritten as 3x squared minus 6x minus 7x plus 14. We factor this by grouping. The first factors out a 3x. The second is a negative 7. So that's 3x times x minus 2 minus 7 times x minus 2. Your two parentheses are the same. So that's x minus 2 times 3x minus 7. Now that you're completely factored, how many parts do you have in your denominator when it's factored out? 2. So that means you're going to have a over x minus 2 plus b over 3x minus 7. What does the first fractions denominator have that's not in your least common denominator? 3x minus 7. So cross out your denominator, multiply the a by 3x minus 7. What about the second? X minus 2. So this now gets rewritten as a times 3x minus 7 plus b times x minus 2 is equal to what? Negative x plus 7. We have to plug in for x now. What are we going to use in order to plug in for x? What did your denominator factor out to be? The x minus 2 and the 3x minus 7. Set them both equal to 0 and solve them. This is going to give you that x is equal to 2 and x is equal to 7/3. So if you want to use the 2 first, this is going to give you a times 3 times 2 minus 7 plus b times 2 minus 2 is equal to the opposite of 2 plus 7. The 2 minus 2 cancels out that b, so you're not working with it. So it's just 3 times 2, which is 6, minus 7 is negative 1. So that's a negative 1 times a is equal to negative 2 plus 7 is 5. Divide each side by the negative 1, and you get that a is negative 5. Yeah, it doesn't matter which one you work with first. Okay. From here, though, because we worked with the 2 first, we still have to work with the 7/3. So use the 7/3 for x as well. This is going to give you a times 3 times 7/3 minus 7 plus b times 7/3 minus 2 is equal to the opposite of 7/3 plus 7. The 3 times 7/3 is 3, or sorry, the 3 times 7/3 is just 7. 7 minus 7 is 0. A times 0 cancels the whole thing out. B times 7/3 minus 2 has to turn into 7/3 plus 6, or sorry, minus 6/3. And then the negative 7/3 plus 7 is going to turn into negative 7/3 plus 21/3. Now we can just use all of our operations and simplify. The 7/3 minus 6/3 is 1/3, so that's 1/3 b is equal to negative 7/3 plus 21/3 is 14/3. Multiply each side by 3 to cancel out that 1/3 in front of b, and you get that b is equal to 14. So now from here, you're just going to rewrite that a over x minus 2 plus b over 3x minus 7 with a and b. So that's going to give you negative 5 over x minus 2 plus 14 over 3x minus 7. If we look at the last one, we have 17x minus 12 over 2x squared minus 200. Your denominator can factor the greatest common factor, which is 2. This gives you 2 times x squared minus 100. The x squared minus 100 is difference of squares, so that's 2 times x minus 10 times x plus 10. If you want to, you could solve for your x from this point. You don't have to. You can wait. But if you want to, you can solve it from here. If you do, you get that x is 10 and x is negative 10. The 2 cancels out because 2 is not equal to 0, so it's a false statement. So you can cancel that out, and you just get negative 10 and positive 10 for x. How many parts did you have when your denominator factored that involved an x? 2. So you're just going to work with a over x minus 10 plus b over x plus 10. We would multiply your a by x plus 10 and your b by x minus 10, and then set it equal to your numerator, which is 17x minus 12. From here, you need to use what you found for x in order to solve for a and b. We said that x is 10, x is negative 10. So if you start with the positive 10, you're going to have your a times 10 plus 10 plus b times 10 minus 10 is equal to 17 times 10 minus 12. Your 10 plus 10 is 20, so that's 20a. Your 10 minus 10 is 0. 0 times b is just 0, so that cancels out. And your 17 times 10 is 170 minus 12. From here, you want to simplify that 170 minus 12. What did you say was? 150. Yep. So that gives you 20a is equal to 158. Divide each side by the 20, get a by itself. These are both even numbers, so they simplify to be what? (79 over 10). Okay. So you got a. You still need to find for b. Use now that x is equal to -10. This is going to give you a times -10 plus 10 plus b times -10 minus 10 is equal to 17 times -10 minus 12. -10 plus 10 is 0. 0 times a cancels out. The -10 times -10 is -20 times b. The -10 times 17 is -170. Minus 12 simplifies to be -20b is equal to -182. Divide each side by the -20. Again, they're both even numbers. They're also both negatives, so they become positives. And b is going to equal 2 goes into 18 9 times. That's 1, so 91 over 10. So now you have a and b. Rewrite these to where it's 79 over 10 over x minus 10 plus 91 over 10 over x plus 10. Can you leave a fraction within a fraction? So work these out. Division is, I just gave you your answer. Fractions are the same thing as division. So you can write this as 79 over 10 divided by x minus 10 over 1 plus 91 over 10 divided by x plus 10 over 1. If we're dividing fractions, we keep change flip. So this turns into 79 over 10 times 1 over x minus 10 plus 91 over 10 times 1 over x plus 10. We simplify this, and it's just 79 over 10 times x minus 10 plus 91 over 10 times x plus 10.